Line's good.
Never on.
Whoa.
Hard. Hardly.
Come on, Brent.
Line's good.
Got real close.
I hear high, right?
Try and hit 2/3.
Have they saved it for her? Yes, they have.
Ooh, welcome to Game of Stones, everybody. I am Sean Graham. Scott alongside, as always. Hello, Scott.
Sean, hey. What's happening, man?
Just an average December day here in the nation's capital as we lead into the Christmas times.
The Christmas times are here. Yeah, obviously, our attention is pulled to the next curling event, right?
Absolutely. It is time for the 2021 Canadian Mixed Doubles Olympic Curling Trials. That is a mouthful. That is an event that is going to be sponsored by somebody. I have no idea who.
Canadians.
Okay, yes, the Canadians Canadian Mixed Doubles Curling Trials taking place next week in Manitoba. The Manitoba provincial government has given the green light to this event as we record this. Things, of course, can certainly change and are changing around the world. But as we speak, this event is scheduled to kick off next week as 16 teams head to Manitoba for the opportunity to win and represent Canada in Beijing in February at the mixed doubles curling event. Scott, are you excited for the mixed doubles curling trials?
I'm kind of excited. Yeah, I think mixed doubles is a fun discipline of curling. I enjoy watching it. The games are short. The action is intense. All the players that are playing are great shot makers. So it'll be fun to watch. We've got coverage on CBC digitally. So CBC Gem or cbcsports.ca. And I believe Joanne Courtney is going to be on the mic. I forget who the play-by-play will be. But yeah, I think it'll be a good show.
Yeah, hopefully. And this is not the first time that CBC has leaned into the mixed doubles for the coverage. So it'll be fun to see them. They do a pretty good job with it. And yeah, as Scott said, Joanne Courtney will be there on the call because she did not qualify. Her and Darren Molding did not have enough points and did not win the correct events to qualify. So Scott, we are going to go through this and talk about a fact or fiction for the mixed doubles curling trials. I have 6 statements here. You will tell me if they are fact or fiction as we look ahead to what will happen next week. And the first one actually speaks to the qualification process. Scott, the first statement, fact or fiction, the qualification process made sense.
Fact, Sean, fact. The qualification process made complete sense. It was very clearly laid out that the Canadian mixed doubles rankings, there was 2 cutoff dates for that. There was the mixed doubles nationals last year. There was some direct entry bonspiel berths, and a couple people got invited because of people who declined their berths. So yeah, it made perfect sense to me.
Okay, so there you have it. There are 16 teams. Yeah, the teams that were invited were Bobby Sauter and Brendan Botcher and Lauren Wasklew and Shane Konings. I'm sure I say Lauren's name incorrectly, and I apologize for that. Of course, Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant, the top ranked team on the mixed doubles rankings, they are not going to complete, given that they are both heading to the Olympics on the 4-person side. So if we go through the field, yeah, there was clear-ish rules as to how you qualified. You can make an argument that the mixed doubles points system is flawed, and a lot of people have made that argument that too much is given to the 4-person game to get you the points into the mixed doubles, and that there needs to be, as we head into the new quad, some sort of reassessment of how points are going to be distributed for mixed doubles players. But overall, I agree. Curling Canada did have to kind of change things up, given that we didn't have a season a couple years ago. But as we sit here today, I'm okay with how it went. You know, I'm sure there are people who aren't, but for this scenario, for this quad, it's fine. We'll have to see what happens in the next quad if they do make some adjustments to focus more on pure mixed doubles events in terms of how these points are going to be distributed.
Yeah, there's two teams that made it in just on Canadian mixed doubles rankings, excluding the CTRS points. And that's the Tucks and Emily and Robert Desjardins. So there was some consideration of the true mixed double specialists getting a chance at this, but you're right. The CTRS points do seem to weight pretty, put their finger on the scale a little bit too much.
All right, so let's move on to statement number 2. Scott, fact or fiction? The pools are even, and neither pool is necessarily stronger than the other one.
Sean, at first glance, I would say Pool B is stronger than Pool A, but then I look over at Pool A and I'm like, damn, there's a lot of good curlers on Pool A too. Maybe because the Desjardins and the Ontario team of Lauren and Shane, whose names I'm not going to try to pronounce, they're in Pool A. Maybe that brings Pool A like a little bit lower because they're names that we don't associate with high performance curling, but that's crazy because they both been at mixed doubles championships and done quite well. So first glance, I would say, Pool B is much stronger. Also because Chelsea Carey and Colin Hodgson are like the lowest ranked team in the event, so they're over there. But
Yep.
But so maybe a slight edge to Pool B. I'll say that your comment then is fiction.
Fiction. There is a stronger pool. So Pool B is Lisa Weigel, John Epping, Rachel Holman and John Morris, Val Sweeting and Mark Kennedy, Clancy Grandy and Patrick Jansen, Bobby Sauter, Brendan Botcher, Kim Tuck and Wayne Tuck, Laurie St. George and Felix Asselin, and Chelsea Carey and Colin Hodgson. Those are the 8 teams in Pool B. It's remarkable to me, Scott, too, just overall the amount of familial connections that are part of these teams. Like if you look, Clancy Grandy and Patrick Jansen are married, as are Bobby Sauter and Brendan Botcher, as are the Tucks. Laurie St. George and Felix Asselin are partners. It really is kind of remarkable at how often that happens. Same case on the other side with Sahaidik and Lot. They're, of course, together. The Desjardins father and daughter team. There's a lot of family connections, and Lauren and Shane too, I believe, are partnered. So just a lot of connections, tight connections here across the pools. In Pool A is Nancy Martin with Tyrell Griffith, Selena Negevin. She is filling in for Jennifer Jones, playing with Brent Lang, Shannon Burchard and Caitlin Schneider, Sahaidik and Lot, the defending runner-ups at the Canadian Mixed.
Silver medalists, we'll call them.
There you go, silver medalist. Laura Walker, Kirk Myers, past champions. The Desjardins, also, I believe, certainly past playoffs, is not past champions from a few years ago. Wasselkew and Konings, and Carrie Anderson playing with Brad Jacobs, who is filling in for Brad Gushu here. So those are the 2 pools. Those are the 16 teams. Scott, I don't know. When I wrote down my statement of one of the pools is, or excuse me, the 2 pools are even, I wrote maybe B is stronger. I don't know, though, because Walker and Myers, Sahaidik and Lot are so good at this discipline, as are Nancy Martin and Tyrell Griffith.
Yeah.
And Shannon Burchard's great. Selena Negevin and Brent Lang, who knows how a new pairing will go. Same thing with Carrie Anderson and Brad Jacobs never having played together. That's always curious to see. Of course, it worked 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works this time. So you're saying fiction, though, on the pools being even.
Yeah, that's my gut reaction, is that Pool B is stronger, but I could be wrong.
All right, let's move on to statement number 3. Scott, power play efficiency is the most important stat.
Power play efficiency. Yeah, I'm going to say yes. That's a fact. Everybody here is great shot makers, right? Everybody can make all the shots. Yep. What these games are going to come down to is how effectively you use your power play. If you're able to generate those big multiple point ends on the power play, I think that will, at the end of the week, we will see the teams with the higher power play efficiency up towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that in the past at the national championships, at the world championship, where power play efficiency really comes into play. That the more points you get on power play efficiency, if you can average 1.5
Hmm.
If you can get to 2 or over 2, then you're really crushing it. Like, if you can guarantee yourself almost multiples every time you use it, it puts you in such a strong point relative to the rest of the field. So if you can do that, you're usually going to be in a good shape. I know a lot of people, I think John Morris might fall into this category, loves to save it for a defensive reason.
Yeah.
If you have a lead, then you can get the rocks off to the side. You don't have to worry about a steal. But overall, I think the better you are with the power play, that's where we might see some separation here in the field. And I say that only because we've seen that before at other events.
Yeah, exactly. You've got it bang on. Using it defensively does maybe bring your percentage down, but if you're using it defensively, it's probably because you're winning. So
Yeah.
you're still winning those games. So I think that yeah, we'll look for that trend come the end of the week to the higher teams.
And it might not necessarily hurt your numbers either, because if you're up and it's late in the game, you're using it defensively, the other team's going to go hard for a steal in whatever way they can. And as we see so often, you might crack a big number that way too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Statement number 4, Scott. I alluded to this earlier, but experience together will matter this week, and that new teams do not have a chance.
Fiction, Sean, fiction. The mixed doubles is so dependent on shot making. We've seen it before. We see it almost every event. There's teams that haven't played that much together. Like the reason that there's so many 4-person championship caliber curlers that come and win mixed doubles is because shot making is the most important thing. The communication aspect is not as much as it would be on a 4-person team. There's not as many egos in the room. Like you say, a lot of these teams are people who are partners in real life, so they make for good partners on the ice already.
Yeah.
And if you're a great shot maker, that's what's going to separate you from the rest of the field. It's not going to be that, oh, we live together and have great communication. If you can't make those draws, you're not going to win in mixed doubles.
So the 2 teams that really this falls into is Selena Negevin, Brent Lang, Carrie Anderson, and Brad Jacobs. And I do think that if this was 4 years ago, I would say that Anderson and Jacobs didn't really have a chance. But because of the progression, I think, of Brad Jacobs, that might work. And we saw how Carrie Anderson worked with Brad Gushu. And Brad Jacobs isn't quite as talkative as Gushu is, but he's gotten more talkative over the years.
And gotten a lot more positive too, like
yes,
more in the mold of a Brad Gushu being positive on the ice. So
yeah, so I think that could potentially work. Of course, Carrie Anderson did win this, so no issues there. And Brad Jacobs can make any shot he needs to. Negevin and Lang, that one's going to be interesting to see. A pretty big age difference there relative to a lot of the other teams. So who knows how that will go, if that matters at all. Probably doesn't. But for that one, it'll just be a case of the shot making. I think for them. I mean, Brent Lang's been around long enough. He's played with enough people. He knows what he's doing. And so Lena Negevin's a great player. It's just, do they stack up in this particular field with these other teams? I don't know. So if they don't win, I don't think it's going to be because they're new together.
Yeah, that's not going to be the reason. It's going to come down to the shots made.
All right. In a similar vein, Scott, statement number 5. The specialists, the mixed doubles specialists, have a chance to win. And I will go through who I consider the specialists in this field. So I'm going to say that the Desjardins, obviously, are specialists. Wasselq and Konings, the Tucks, and I'm going to put Sahaidik and Lot in there, even though maybe not specialist, but that certainly this has been their focus. So I'm going to say those 4 teams I'm going to identify as the specialists.
Yeah, then Sahaidik and Lot have a chance to win. So yes, that's a fact. I don't think the other 3 do.
Okay.
I might throw Nancy Martin and Terrell Griffith in that specialist category too, since Terrell took a step back from playing in the 4-person game at the end of the last quad. But they both have long track records in the 4-person game. So I think there's a chance that Sahaidik and Lot win this. They showed their mettle, I guess, over the last 4 years, especially the last couple at the national championships. And I wouldn't be surprised, if they were putting on those jackets come the end of the week, would you?
No, they have everything they need to win. They have all the shots. They have the experience
Mhm.
doing this. They've had great success at the mixed doubles national level. So no, I would not be surprised necessarily if they made it. Certainly, I don't think they're the favorite going into it. I don't know if there is necessarily a favorite,
Hmm.
a singular favorite, but I don't think they're going to be top of mind for most folks. But yeah, they're certainly capable of winning. And I agree with you though on the other three. I think we have, sadly to me, I think gotten to the point where the mixed double specialists who aren't playing on tour, aren't playing with a 4-person team, don't necessarily have a chance because those tour players are just so good at this point that maybe 4 years ago, one of them could have potentially won. Certainly, if we were 8 years ago and currently was in the Olympics, which of course it was not, or mixed doubles was in the Olympics, which of course it was not, that's when you did see the Tucks winning the mixed doubles nationals and going to the world championship. And that those days are pretty much gone.
Yeah, pretty much. It's about reps at the high level, right? If you're not
Yeah.
if you're not getting enough reps in a game playing, throwing the shots, then it's hard to replicate that success when you do go up against the best shot makers in the world.
All right, so Scott, the last statement, statement 6 about the mixed doubles curling trials. A player who wasn't participating at the event in Saskatoon, the 4-person trials, will win and represent Canada at the Olympics.
I gotta go fiction on that one.
All right, so out of the 32, let's go through who was not there. Nancy Martin, Tyrell Griffith, they're a team together.
Yeah.
You got Sahaidik, was not there. Colton
Yeah.
Lott did play. The Desjardins were not there. Waslick and Konings were not there. So that's everyone from Pool A. Over on Pool B, Clancy Grandy, and I'm going to say Patrick Jansen. He was there, but he wasn't sort of on a team proper. The Tucks, Laurie St. George, Felix Asselin, and Chelsea Carey was not there either. And I'm counting the 5th. Like, you weren't on the team proper, so I'm saying you weren't there. So those are the teams that could be eligible.
Okay, well, I was counting that if they were.
It's only 2 players. That's Jansen and Carey.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, like, if half the team wasn't there, that still counts because that's one player that.
Yeah, a singular player who wasn't in Saskatoon has a chance to represent Canada.
Yeah, there is a chance. I would say it's a slim chance. So, like, maybe
Okay,
20.
so my statement is will, though. So the statement is will. A
Will.
player who wasn't in Saskatoon will represent Canada.
Then I'm gonna say fiction. It's not going to happen as much as we might like to see it, but the greatness of the shot makers among those who are there in Saskatoon is going to prevail come the end of the week. I'm going to pick Rachel Homan and John Morris to make this.
All right.
Win this event.
Okay. Both of them were, of course, in Saskatoon.
That's right.
2 mixed levels of success.
Yeah. Yeah. Very mixed.
Very mixed, for sure. So there you have it, Scott. I think I'm going to go with Sweeting and Mark Kennedy.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm going to go with the lefty connection there to come through. Those 2 players are very, very good. But this is a good field overall. I think this will be a lot of fun to see who wins.
Yeah, it's a really good field. Do we know, Sean, I was trying to look up before we started today. Do we know how much is going to be on CBC sports.ca?
I haven't seen their full schedule yet, no. But I would assume multiple draws a day. Certainly all the playoffs will be on there.
Yeah.
And the final. But I'm sure it'll be a lot. They've made a big deal about this. I'd be surprised if it's not wall to wall.
Okay. I hope it's wall to wall because it's going to be cold next week. So
yeah, ain't nothing else to do. So there you go. The format for this with the 2 pools, each team will play a round robin schedule. So you get 7 games and then 6 teams are going to make the playoffs. Whoever finishes first in each pool gets a bye into the final 4. And then the second place and third place teams will cross over and play each other in a game. The losers of those games are out. And then we get into a double knockout playoff in order to get into a championship game. So it's not quite a page, it's page adjacent. It's like a page if everybody was in the 1-2 game, essentially.
Yeah, it's like everybody gets seeded 1 through 6, is what you said, right?
Yeah, but the top 2 are through.
So the 2 pool winners are automatically 1 and 2,
Correct.
and then then the rest are seeded based on record, and I guess draw to the button.
If there's a tie, yeah.
Because I assume there will be ties, but and then you get a double knockout. It's not really a double knockout, because if you're the 3, 4, 5, or 6 seed, you play a single elimination. It's kind of like the NFL.
Well, it's a single elimination to get into a double knockout.
Yeah, single elimination to get to a double knockout. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so 3 through 6 play. The winners of that join the 2 pool winners in a double knockout. So you play in that double knockout to get into a final game. There is going to be a singular championship game. It's not going to be a scenario where this team has to beat this team twice.
Right.
So you're still going to have one championship game to get there. But yes, it's somewhat convoluted. I certainly understand. We might not be doing the greatest job of explaining it. But yeah, 6 teams in, 4 playoff and single elimination. The 4 that are left, double elimination to a championship game. Just that easy, Scott.
Oh, it's just that easy. Yeah. Who came up with this?
Yeah, and we will say too, there are no tiebreakers at this event. So if you are tied for 3rd in your pool with one other team, whoever won that game is in, other team's out. If it's 3 teams and everyone beat each other, it's going to the last stone draw. So teams could be eliminated here on last stone draw. I don't know if it's necessarily likely, but certainly it's possible. And that would be unfortunate for them, but that's just sort of the way it's going in curling, and Curling Canada in this case has certainly leaned into that.
Yeah, it's sort of a way to guarantee the broadcast partners that we guarantee the games will be at this time.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have too many tiebreakers, like we saw at the 4-person trials, that the men's was moved because the women's tiebreakers were on, and I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but for me, but I don't know, maybe some people bought a ticket for a draw wanting to see, I don't know, the men's semifinal, and instead saw the women's and were upset. I don't know.
Well, they shouldn't have been. That game was terrible.
I agree.
They didn't. You didn't miss much. No. It was great that they were able to play with another sheet going, because otherwise, I don't know what we would have gotten. Top 10 curling shots of all time 3 straight times afterwards to fill the time on CSN.
Well, they wouldn't have been allowed to shake, right?
No, I don't know. I don't know. We haven't seen anything. They might have got fined. Still,
I think they should have been, but
yeah, they probably were. And but there's nothing you can do. Like, if you're the officials, you can't say you have to play. If they're saying we're done,
you can say it.
But they're still good. But if they're going to walk off, they're going to walk off. I mean, at this point in his career, Kevin Cooey probably doesn't really care. Yeah. He'll pay the fine and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And Curling Canada is not going to suspend Kevin Cooey and say you can't come to national championships anymore. That's not going to happen.
Maybe for 1 year, but probably not.
Yeah. So that's sort of the situation there. It'll be fun to watch how these 16 teams go for it. A lot of pressure, slightly less than the 4-person teams. You don't get the sense that these events, or this event, the mixed doubles, carries that same pressure for the players as what we see at the 4-person events. So I think this will be a little looser, a little more relaxed. The players certainly enjoy this format. It'll be more than a typical mixed doubles event, but not as much as what we saw in Saskatoon. So it should be a good time to sit back. Hopefully everyone has an opportunity to get some time off, recharge over this period, and maybe watch some mixed doubles curling.
Yeah. And I'll just say, hope that everybody stays safe and stays healthy. The world is changing again, and it's the uneasiness is not easy. That's why it's called uneasy, I guess. But it's hope everybody's feeling okay and feeling in the right mindset and feeling safe.
Yes, absolutely. Sending our best wishes to everybody out there in the midst of everything going on. And certainly we hope that this event as well is able to be pulled off safely out there in Manitoba. And as we say, things could change. As we sit here, it is scheduled to go forward. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that it can be done in a safe manner for everybody's sake. Scott, this is the last time that we're going to record here in 2021. We do have an episode planned for next week, but all that's done. It's all recorded. So, last chance for 2021. What's your sentiment on the year? Is there a way to recap it? And what are you maybe looking forward to in 2022?
Well, from a curling perspective, 2021 gave us a lot, right? It was a lot of curling. Overall, life-wise, I would say 2021 was pretty good for me. Certainly comparing to 2020, I would say for most people, probably 2021 was better than 2020. I'm honestly looking forward to a little bit more normalcy even than we had this last half of 2021. It would be nice to, not have to worry about COVID when I'm planning all sorts of things, and then the plans get disrupted and my plan Bs get disrupted, and all, like, it would be nice to just have something go as planned.
Yeah, that would be swell indeed. Yeah, I think that's
How about you, Sean?
for me. I think 2021 was interesting. Certainly from a curling perspective, a lot happened. There was a very unique year that, as we talked about last week on the Stony Awards, certainly going to remember it for a while. On a personal note, yeah, big changes for me in 2021 in certain areas, and just looking forward to a brighter, happier 2022 for everybody out there. If hopefully we can accomplish that.
Yeah, and hopefully we, bring a little bit of levity and fun into everyone's ears while they're listening to us yammer on about curling.
Certainly is the goal, and we appreciate everybody listening out there. Whether you listen each episode, you find us occasionally around the big events, whatever it is, we certainly appreciate everyone sharing their time with us. It's a great privilege for us, and we certainly I'm always amazed when I look at the numbers that people are listening and following along with us, and we certainly enjoy it, and I've loved the interactions with everybody, especially this year, where the personal in-person interactions were minimal at best. It was great to have some online interaction to try as best we could to fill that void.
Absolutely, Sean.
So that's going to be it for 2021 for us. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. If you have not yet, please do subscribe wherever it is you get your podcast. Do likes, ratings, comments, all that good stuff. Helps keep the show growing and keeps us chugging along here as we head into the new year. You can also head on over to gameofstonespod.com. All of our past episodes are there. Plus, if you click on the merch tab, you can get yourself some Game of Stones gear with all the proceeds from the t-shirts going to Food Banks Canada, all the proceeds from the other products going to the Sandra Schmerler Foundation. We are matching those, and we'll have a full update on how much was donated in our first episode in 2022. We have the numbers. We'll see if anything comes in before the end of the year to get a full sense of what happened in 2021 on that front. But as we always say, if you just want to donate, we're not going to object to that, especially around this time of year. And of course, do feel free to let us know what you want to hear on the show, or if there's other merch things that you want, over at gameofstonespodcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter and Instagram at gameofstonespod. So there you have it. A full year in the life of curling is completed. And Scott, now it's just time to get some R&R. What are your big plans here for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm going to get a massage later today. My neck's a little stiff, so try to work that out. Got a lot of Christmas movies all queued up, each night a different Christmas movie. We've got some house guests in town. Our folks arrived here yesterday, so we're planning all our meals. We're gonna have some good family time. I have lots of beer, lots of wine, lots of food, and we're just gonna take that time to be together as best we can and celebrate the season.
Very nice. Well, enjoy yourself, Scott. Be safe over there. Maybe I'll join you. Who knows?
Yeah, hope to see you over here, Sean.
We'll see.
It'd be nice.
We'll see what happens. If not,
See how it plays
if
out.
not, I got a bunch of the food here.
Yeah, that's mostly why you have to come over, because you've got some food that
Yeah, we'll see what happens on that front. But just trying to follow all the public health guidance and advice as we celebrate a healthy and a happy, and hope that everyone out there, in whatever way you can, celebrate with those you love, healthy, happy. We wish all the best for everybody at this time of year, and certainly heading into the new year. So, as I said, we'll be back with a episode for you next week. But until we speak again, keep those brooms on the ice and don't dump that intern.
Make the final.